The Quarry is the latest game from Supermassive Games, the same development team and creators behind 2015's PlayStation exclusive Until Dawn. Now featuring a fresh new story poking fun at 80s and 90s monster movies while also featuring big name stars such as David Arquette, Lin Shaye, Lance Henriksen, Justice Smith, and Ted Raimi among others, The Quarry proves itself to not just be an incredible interactive gaming experience, but also the perfect blend of cliches and scares to make up a wonderful and truly immersive story. My name is Patrick Burrow, and this is Critics Play Games. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Critics Play Games. My name is Patrick and I'm your co-host today, and today we are going to be talking about The Quarry, the newest game from Supermassive Games. Usually on the YouTube platform, I love to do movie reviews or I love to do movie reactions on my own channel, but I also love video games, and I recently, not too long ago, got my hands on a PS5 finally, because finding one in Australia is an absolute nightmare. So naturally with that, there are tons of big titles coming out that I'm super excited for on this new console, and with that, The Quarry was one of the big ones. The Quarry may not be the biggest game in the world like your Elden Rings or your The Last of Us, but The Quarry is a game that I was super excited for because I was a massive fan of Supermassive's Until Dawn, which released in 2015 and was one of my first games to ever play on the PS4. Because I didn't get a PS4 until around about the halfway mark of 2015, so that was one of the first games I picked up in around about the August of that year, and ever since I've been loving what Supermassive Games has been doing with Until Dawn and their Dark Pictures anthology series with Men of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, and they've got another one coming out this year called The Devil in Me or something along those lines. And even though not all of them are great and they're much shorter and more condensed, I still enjoy them because I love these types of games. The Quarry, on the other hand, was a game I was super excited for because not only was it meant to be a more expansive experience like Until Dawn was in comparison to the Dark Pictures anthology, but it also was meant to have a ridiculous amount of endings depending on the choices you made throughout the course of your playthrough. To be exact, it's rumored to have a total of 186 endings. What the fuck? So with that, naturally, going into it as well, considering how excited I was and all these big name actors in there such as Ted Raimi, Lance Henriksen, David Arquette, Justice Smith, Lin Shaye, I was also super nervous. But I'm glad to say that The Quarry is an incredible gaming experience that I had an absolute blast with. If you want to catch my first reaction to the game, I do have a full series on my own channel where I streamed the entirety of the game upon its release in two separate parts so I could let the story sort of settle in. I've played the game twice now because I'm also trophy hunting, and I've got to say this is one of my favorite games of the entire year. Getting into the nitty gritty of everything, let's talk about the story first of all. The story follows a group of camp counselors, 7 to be exact, and when something goes wrong, they have to stay an extra night in Hackett's Quarry, where in doing so, they start to encounter things that are not so normal, and it just made everything all the more immersive for the reason that this game at the beginning is a slow burn. This game, just like Until Dawn, has roughly 10 chapters, but the first 2 chapters in particular are you getting to know the characters and getting used to them, more or less, getting personal with them, getting to play as every separate person and getting to know their different personalities. Whether it's playing as Ryan, played by Justice Smith, or playing as Dylan or Caitlin or Emma or Abigail, who I don't remember the actress's name, but she's from Modern Family. First of all, the performances from every single actor in this with the mocap work is absolutely spectacular. I think they all did an absolutely brilliant job, and a major standout to me while she's not in the game much is in fact Lin Shaye, who with her introduction to the game and then also her scenes for how brief they might have been, she as per usual was an absolute powerhouse and gave it her all.
You hear yourself?
Yes, I hear my goddamn self. I may be old, but I ain't deaf.
I'm a police officer!
Oh, so now I'm blind, you motherfucker.
Ted Raimi as the cop, the sheriff, turned out to be my favorite character by the end of the game because even though from the beginning you may not like him, without spoilers obviously, getting to know him, you really started to feel for him and understand where he was coming from, and his motives became a whole lot more clear. In saying this, let's talk about the story and the characters together and how good it all is. I think the writing in this game, while incredibly campy and self-aware to 80s, 90s horror tropes, is also brilliant in the regards to how it's all structured, how it's all crafted, and you know, more or less blended together. Because with every choice you make, there is still at least this main narrative going on where you get the idea of everything that is happening in a very cohesive fashion, no matter the choices you make. With the 2 playthroughs I have done so far, I lost 3 characters in my first playthrough, and on my second playthrough, I managed to save everyone for the Save Everyone trophy, because trophy hunting. And in doing so, I noticed some very similar things going on, while also some massive differences, with certain choices I changed up, and certain events that unfolded that were a lot different to my first playthrough in regards to encountering these so-called creatures, which I won't ruin what they are for you guys, if you haven't had a chance to play the game yet. The different encounters, the different choices do lead to certain events unfolding in very different ways. And with that, the story, each time you play through it, at least on my 2 playthroughs, had very different identities. Not only is the writing as a whole with the main core story incredible and very, very well done, it's incredibly broad and very vast. You get a really good sense of the lore and what's going on by the end of the game, for not just the world that is set up, but also the characters. A big improvement over Until Dawn with this game, in my opinion, is that there was not a single character I wanted to see die. Even some of the most annoying characters in the game, such as Jacob and Emma, who I would regard as the most annoying, and Emma is the closest to the Emily character from Until Dawn, they're nowhere near as ear-grating as that character was, or some of the characters were, like Jessica, Emily, and even Matt to a certain extent Until Dawn. They're nowhere near as annoying or unlikable, so therefore, when you encounter certain very tense situations in this game where your choices do obviously matter, I honestly experienced some extreme sense of anxiety, because I didn't want any of them to die, and that's the beauty of the writing of this game with the overall story and characterization and development of everything going on, because not only are you engrossed and immersed in this narrative that they are telling you with the world, but also the characters, their different personalities and relationships with each other are very pure and very human as well, through the incredible mocap work done to bring these characters and actors to life in the game. But also the writing for every separate character is absolutely brilliant, and you do care about every single one of them in one way or another. And the interactive experience, I need to talk about that. This is wow. The amount of sheer anxiety I felt playing this game in multiple moments through the choices I had to make, and an incredible new system brought in called the Don't Breathe system. This is a system that was more or less introduced into Until Dawn, where you don't move the controller, or should I say the DualShock controller, in regards to its motion sensors. And in the Man of Medan, or Little Hope, or House of Ashes, it's a very similar thing in regards to pressing X on beat with your heart rate. And with that said, I think what they did in this game was amazing, which was a perfect blend of tension, suspense, audio cues, and visual cues. You feel like you're holding your breath with them, because rather than having to tap the X button at certain moments, or having to hold your controller still, you are having to hold in the X button until an enemy or another creature, depending on what they are, fucks off, essentially. They go away. You have to watch the video, you have to watch the visual while listening to audio cues at the same time, and hold the button in and release it at your best judgment as when it's safe to run and hide. This created some incredibly intense and anxiety-inducing sequences that I do not want to relive, especially for the first time. Like, my heart was racing on multiple moments, especially because I didn't want to see any of these characters get hurt or die at all. But every choice you make in this game actually feels like it matters, unlike Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures anthology games. With those games, and also I'll even bring up Telltale's Walking Dead series. Like, when it came to those games, yes, some choices definitely mattered and did affect the overall story and who lives and dies and the overall outcome, but they never felt like they always mattered. In The Quarry, though, I found it incredibly tense and hard to keep certain characters alive, because my best judgment was never the best judgment. It made me question my best judgment and every choice I made at every turn, because every choice, no matter how big or small, matters in this game, whether it's dialogue through certain characters with each other, or an action that you take in regards to running or hiding. It is very simple, yet very tense all at once, because every choice you make does have an outcome for better or worse in this game, and that is something I definitely found out upon my 2 playthroughs, especially with the minor differences with certain choices in certain moments. And I've also got to talk about the performances as well as the graphics, which I've already briefly touched on when it comes to talking about the actors in this game and the incredible mocap work, but the visuals in this game, I had my mother walk into the room while I was playing it yesterday during my Save Everyone playthrough. She actually walked in and asked me, what movie are you watching? And when I told her that I was playing a video game, she was absolutely shocked. She thought I was watching a movie. That's how incredible the visuals are in this game, from every pore to every piece of stubble on someone's face, or every little drop of sweat or rust on a window, to every speck of dust and grime on the floor or a mat. You can see every bit of detail, and it's just as beautiful as you might imagine watching a movie in live action. Considering my mother mistook it for a movie, that's saying something in regards to the absolute technical feat that this game has regarding its graphics and visuals. And it definitely helps in regards to the visual performances for these actors in regards to their mocap work and bringing them to life. Sure, there were a few issues with the graphics I definitely noticed, such as there was some moments where Abigail in particular, her hair was sort of spazzing out and frolicking all over the place on her head, or Emma's mouth at certain moments seemed normal size, and then when she was talking in certain moments seemed a little bit too big, or there were certain moments where polygons seemed a bit sharp in people's hair, or there was some clipping in regards to clothing. But this was also me playing it in the first 2 days, so these patches haven't come out yet. But for just these minor little issues regarding the textures as well as the visuals, that's saying something, considering the game as a whole. Whether you're playing through the roaming around, getting collectibles and exploring to go from moment to moment in regards to your interactivity and playability style of it regarding outside of cutscenes and your choices, to the cutscenes and those moments where you're making those choices, the game as a whole never drops in quality, and every visual you could mistake while walking around normally in the environments or the locations you're in Hackett's Quarry, do look very much so the same as a cutscene. Now, this is a horror game as well. It's an interactive horror experience, but how are the scares in this game? Yeah, this game's very scary at times. There are certain moments in regards to especially guessing on your first playthrough what the hell is going on and you don't know. From a whisper in your ear if you're wearing headphones, to certain visuals which are very clever, such as someone hiding behind a tree and a flashlight goes by and they disappear. It creates this very tense, very atmospheric, eerie environment throughout the entire course of the game. You never feel safe in this game, whether you're, walking around or in a cutscene, or no matter the character you are, because certain events and certain things that happen from these creatures to your characters, if you don't die and they do something to you, it can lead to further consequences down the track that are obviously a little bit more drastic, because it creates more consequences for other characters later on. I also need to mention that the tension in this game, I've already mentioned the anxiety that it made me feel from the visuals and the environment and the atmosphere to the choices you had to make, but also I've got to mention the extreme levels of violence in this game. Depending on choices you make, certain characters die in certain moments in very brutal ways, from someone having their face shot off with a shotgun, to someone having their head ripped off completely, or arms torn off and mauled to death. Wow. I'm not saying who these characters are for spoiler reasons, or the choices made to get these characters to these moments, obviously, but oh boy. Wow. Like, for example, let me just show a little clip from my stream the other day when I was in chapter 6 of the game. If you've played the game, you know the moment. I made a very poor piece of judgment due to what I knew at the moment and wanting to keep a certain character alive. There is a spoiler warning right here. If you guys don't want to see the spoiler, please skip to this moment. That is now the time code on screen, because my god, this scene absolutely fucking shocked me to the point that I was so pissed that I even tried to exit out of the game and cheat the system to keep this character alive. But unfortunately, when you make a choice in this game, every single time it checkpoints. But, just take a fucking look.
This isn't you.
Hey! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Abby.
What the fuck? Oh shit! Nope, 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 and nope. No, I can't change my decision! Yeah, that's the type of shit you can experience. Or, another spoiler warning, here you go, just look at this one.
gotcha.
Quick time event.
Look what you did to my Caitlin.
Not gonna work. Oh! Holy shit! Yeah, pretty gnarly, if I'm being honest. Like, wow. And of course, though, with the scares in this game and the horror elements, you've got to expect the jump scares from a game like this, but they were never too frequent. They were definitely there and they had a place, but they were never too in your face and only appeared in moments where you would be scared from something jumping out at you or something just creeping up and startling you. That's exactly what it served the purpose on, so therefore it never felt tedious or more or less migraine inducing. Like, it never felt annoying. It knew its place and it stayed, and it worked for that reason. Now, in regards to this game, there is a new feature incorporated called movie mode as well, which I thought was actually a lot of fun. Technically, you can say I've done 3 playthroughs of this game, but in regards to actually playing through the game, I've done 2. In regards to just experiencing the game, I've done 3, because there's a new feature in this game called movie mode, where you can choose either the director's chair, or everyone lives, or everyone dies, to watch all the cutscenes in the game like a massive movie, which I think is an amazing feature for a game like this, because if you just want to watch it like a movie after your playthrough and experience the story as a big cinematic, there is that option there, and you can even go into the director's chair where you can have certain traits chosen for certain characters so they make certain choices that you wouldn't normally make to see the different outcomes, endings, and how the story unfolds in different ways. You can have it set to random, you can have it set to, you know, always anxious or always suspicious for certain characters like Ryan or Laura or, you know, Caitlin and whatnot. It's a really cool feature, and I ended up deciding to give it a shot myself, and I ended up watching the Everyone Dies, movie mode, to just be a little bit curious, especially with some choices I'm gonna have to make with my trophy progression later on in regards to my Everyone Dies trophy, to see how I do them. And it was a really fun experience just getting to watch it as this big movie cinematic cutscene and see the story unfold in this way. I think it's a cool little feature for the game. Need I mention it also pops a trophy for starting a movie mode, so, you know, there's that as well if you want a free trophy. And I've got to say, this game definitely has a lot of replayability to it. Even on my second playthrough, playing through the roughly 10-hour story all over again, I've got to say it never felt boring. It never felt like the same game either, because I made different choices on that second playthrough to keep everyone alive. And not only that, there are certain situations where I kind of messed up and I didn't realize that I made a wrong decision and certain things were still going wrong. While I was successful at keeping everyone alive, I thought I was going to fail at so many moments, but they were in different situations and moments than in the first playthrough, and because of certain events being changed in the first playthrough, I had certain scenes, sequences, and encounters happen in my second playthrough that were non-existent in that first playthrough, and the same thing in vice versa. There were some scenes in the first playthrough that did not appear in my second playthrough because my choices were different. This is a game that's rumored to have 186 different endings, meaning every playthrough you make is never going to be the same. It is always going to feel unique. It is always going to feel and be different, because the choices you make, no matter how big or small, if different, are drastic in their own right, and I love that about it, and adds this massive replayability factor to the game. And need I mention, it's also fun to replay the game, because I'm currently doing my proper third playthrough right now, where I am going to only save Caitlin at the end, which is a trophy where she's the final girl. That's what the trophy's called, the final girl. And I kill everyone else, but she's the lone survivor, the final girl. But in the process, I'm also getting all the collectibles as well. And getting all the collectibles and reading them is also really awesome if you want to expand your lore and knowledge of the game's story. The collectibles do play a very vital part to unlock all the secrets in this game, to completely understand it. And that's something I love about it as well. If you're someone like me who loves a great expansive story where you really have to read and look into it, like your Resident Evils or your Silent Hills and everything, this is the game for you, because every little clue, you know, evidence piece, or every little piece of collectible that you get, even the incredible tarot cards, which are the premonition replacement for Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures anthology games. In this, you've got tarot cards where in between each chapter you encounter a lady called Elizabeth, who's like a fortune teller at like a little, you know, traveling circus show. I'm not gonna say why, obviously, because spoilers, but this was a really cool feature, and you never got to see every premonition either. So if you get all the tarot cards and want to replay the game multiple times to see what the different premonitions are, this is a really cool way to expand the game as well. let alone the trophies. You have to do so many playthroughs of this game or reload certain save points where you have to play through from like chapter 3 all the way to chapter 10 again, because the chapter loading screen will be locked after that because it erases your current save data from chapter 3 onwards. But getting all the trophies in this game also is a great way to get your money's worth, because I spent $110 on this game in Australia, which worth it, by the way, worth it. But I truly feel that whether you're a trophy hunter like me or you're not and you never trophy hunt, I'm a trophy hunter. I love my trophy hunting experience when it comes to video games, no matter how big, small, tedious or not. When it comes to this game, trophy hunting I think is an ideal way to go, and is a game begging to be 100% completed, because getting all the trophies gives you a way to experience so many different paths and endings and moments throughout the game that you wouldn't just by playing it once or twice. And also getting all the collectibles is a part of that as well, alongside, you know, everything with the Hackets, which are really cool characters by the way, and everything involving the creatures and the different encounters with certain characters and the different choices for the different endings for the the platinum process on PlayStation, at least, or the trophy process as a whole. I truly recommend, and it's very rare that I recommend when it comes to gaming, because trophy hunting is quite tedious, but as a trophy hunter and a gamer myself, this is a game I recommend that everyone try to 100% complete, because every playthrough through trying to get certain trophies will be different for that reason, adding to the replayability factor, and it just won't get boring. And I can reassure you of that, as the game's been out for 3 days at the point of me, not even 3 days at the point of me recording this, and I'm already on my 3rd playthrough. I'm loving this game so far. Overall, The Quarry is an incredible horror interactive gaming experience that has a truly immersive and expansive story with great characters that are leaps and bounds better than the characters in Until Dawn. Everyone is likable and sympathetic in their own way, and you never want to see anyone die. It makes you experience extreme amounts of anxiety and tension through every choice you make, making you question every bit of judgment and choice you make around every single corner. I think it is truly a masterclass in, you know, interactive game storytelling. I think that this is a brilliantly written game with incredible scares and amazing amounts of tension as well, depending on your choices. And I think it is not only harder than Until Dawn to keep everyone alive, but I also think as a game itself, I think it is an improvement over Until Dawn, which for me is one of my favorite games of all time anyway. And saying that is something, I adored The Quarry. Yes, there are certain issues I have in regards to graphical stuff, in regards to certain clippings, or, you know, too sharp in regards to polygons or little bugs in there that I encountered, and I wish there was more of a resolution for the characters, especially when it came to the overall ending of the game. If you saved everyone, I didn't, in my ending, find a big resolution for the characters, but I'm sure upon many other playthroughs I will encounter different sorts of endings that might prove this complaint a little bit redundant. But overall, I had a great time with The Quarry. I can recommend it to everyone, whether you're a fan of horror games or not, because it is here for everyone. Whether you want to watch it as a movie experience through movie mode or play it as a game itself, it is there for everyone, and it's extremely accessible with a great story and great characters. I truly recommend The Quarry because, in my opinion, it is an incredible game to be released on the next gen consoles. So with all that said, I'm going to give The Quarry a 9 out of 10. So guys, what do you think of The Quarry? Have you had a chance to play it yet? How many characters did you keep alive? How many died? What was your ending? Please comment down below, let me know. We want to see what you guys have to say here on Critics Play Games. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute blast talking about this game. It's easily one of my favorites of the year so far, and I can't wait to play it again and get my platinum eventually over the next week or so. I hope to see you guys soon. Please comment down below, as I said, and this has been Critics Play Games.